What would you do if a small act of kindness from a stranger changed your life forever? Matthew Grayson, a wealthy and successful businessman, thought he had seen it all until a chance encounter with a humble boy on a dusty road made him question everything he believed about success, generosity, and the true meaning of wealth. What would you do if a small act of kindness from a stranger changed your life forever? Matthew Grayson, a wealthy and successful businessman, thought he had seen it all until a chance encounter with a humble boy on a dusty road made him question everything he believed about success, generosity, and the true meaning of wealth. The sun blazed down on the narrow country road, its heat shimmering off the asphalt. Matthew Grayson, a millionaire with a sharp suit and an even sharper mind, adjusted the air conditioning in his vintage Bentley. The car had been his father's, a relic of old money and timeless elegance. He rarely drove it, but today felt like the perfect day to escape the suffocating meetings and corporate chaos. But fate had other plans. A sudden jolt rattled the car, pulling him out of his thoughts. Matthew pulled over, his pristine loafers crunching on the gravel shoulder as he inspected the rear tire. Flat, completely deflated. Grumbling, he pulled out his phone. No signal. As he leaned against the car, frustration bubbling, he noticed a figure in the distance. A young boy, no older than 14, was walking with purpose. He wore a faded blue t-shirt, jeans with patches at the knees, and sneakers that had seen better days. Slung over his shoulder was a small backpack. The boy approached with a mix of curiosity and confidence. "You got a flat tire?" he asked, his voice steady. Matthew sighed. "Unfortunately. You wouldn't happen to know how to fix one, would you?" The boy grinned. "Sure do. My uncle's a mechanic. Taught me last summer. Got a spare?" Reluctantly, Matthew popped the trunk and gestured to the spare tire. The boy set his backpack down and got to work without hesitation. His hands moved deftly, a quiet focus etched on his young face. Matthew watched, a mix of disbelief and admiration stirring within him. Here was a child, likely from modest means, stepping up to help a complete stranger without hesitation. "What's your name?" Matthew asked, breaking the silence. "Tyrese," the boy replied, not looking up from his task. "Well, Tyrese, you seem to know what you're doing. Like I said, my uncle taught me. Said it's always good to know how to help yourself and others." In 10 minutes, the tire was changed. Tyrese stood, brushing his hands on his jeans. "All set, mister." Matthew reached into his wallet and pulled out a crisp $100 bill. "Here, for your trouble." But Tyrese took a step back, shaking his head. "Thanks, but I don't need it. Just glad I could help." Matthew was stunned. "Are you sure?" "Yes, sir. My mama says kindness don't come with a price tag." Before Matthew could respond, Tyrese grabbed his backpack and walked away, disappearing down the road. That evening, back in his opulent mansion, Matthew couldn't shake the interaction. He had met thousands of people in his lifetime, business magnates, investors, and socialites, but none had left an impression like Tyrese. The boy's humility and selflessness gnawed at him. Why had Tyrese refused the money? What kind of upbringing instilled such values? The next morning, curiosity got the better of him. Matthew returned to the stretch of road where he'd met Tyrese. After asking around at a local diner, he learned the boy lived in a small neighborhood with his mother and younger siblings. When Matthew arrived, he found a modest house with peeling paint and a sagging porch. Children's laughter echoed from the backyard. He knocked on the door, and a woman in her late 30s answered, her expression cautious but polite. "Good morning," Matthew began. "I'm looking for Tyrese. He helped me with a flat tire yesterday." Her face softened. "That sounds like my Tyrese. Come in." The inside of the house was tidy but humble. Photos of Tyrese and his siblings adorned the walls, alongside school drawings and handmade crafts. Tyrese appeared from the backyard, surprised to see Matthew. "Hey, mister," he greeted with a wide smile. "Did your car break down again?" Matthew chuckled. "No, thankfully. I just wanted to thank you properly." He turned to Tyrese's mother. "You've raised a remarkable young man." She smiled, though her eyes betrayed exhaustion. Thank you. Tyrus's daddy passed a few years back, so it's just us. He's a good boy, always helping out. Tyrese shrugged. Mama works hard. I just do my part. Matthew stayed for over an hour, listening to stories of their lives. He learned about Tyrus's dreams of becoming an engineer, his love for fixing things, and his dedication to his family. The boy's resilience and optimism struck a chord deep within Matthew. Over the next few weeks, Matthew couldn't get the family out of his mind. He decided to take action. Without telling Tyrese, he arranged for contractors to repair their house, fixing the roof, repainting the exterior, and reinforcing the porch. He also ensured Tyrese had a proper workspace with tools to nurture his engineering dreams. Most importantly, he set up a scholarship fund to cover Tyruse's education all the way through college, ensuring his path to becoming an engineer was secure. When the renovations began, Tyrese and his mother were overwhelmed. "Mister, you didn't have to do all this," Tyrese said, his voice trembling. Matthew placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. "You reminded me of something important, Tyrese. Kindness should be met with kindness." During one of his visits, Matthew took Tyrese on a tour of the university where he had once studied engineering himself. As they walked through the labs and classrooms, Matthew could see Tyruse's eyes light up with excitement. This visit solidified Tyruse's dream and gave him a vision of the future he could achieve. Moved by Tyruse's passion, Matthew decided to do more. Alongside supporting Tyrese, he began planning a mechanical training center for the village. The center would offer free education and skill development for young people who couldn't afford formal schooling. Tyrese would have the opportunity to contribute as a mentor once he achieved his dreams. Months later, the house was transformed, a beacon of hope in the neighborhood. Tyrese started his journey to becoming an engineer with Matthew's unwavering support. Meanwhile, the mechanical training center began construction, quickly becoming a symbol of opportunity and change for the community. At the center's grand opening, Tyrese stood before a crowd. "My mama always said kindness don't come with a price tag. And Mr. Grayson showed me that when we pay kindness forward, we build something bigger than ourselves." Matthew, standing among the crowd, felt a swell of pride and fulfillment. Helping Tyrese had reignited a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in years. Together, they had not only changed their own lives, but also created a legacy that would inspire countless others. What began as a chance encounter on a dusty road had become a story of transformation, proving that even the smallest acts of kindness can ripple outward, changing lives and communities forever. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. We'd love to hear your story.